Hey everybody, Grest here. So you guys have seen on some of my social media the last couple months some pictures of this guy right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at what comes in the box and I'll tell you a little bit about it. Okay, so this here is the Beretta M9A4 pistol. Now, just a quick history on the M9. The M9 pistol from Beretta was the US military's standard sidearm for many decades until the recent changeover to the Sig Sauer M17 and M18, basically a P320. Beretta had came out with an upgraded version of the M9 to compete with the other pistols that were submitted for the handgun trials a few years back, and they had submitted the upgraded M9A3. So what sets apart the M9A3 to the M9A4? The biggest difference, other than some small details, is the provision for a red dot optic. Now, I had wanted the M9A3 for quite a number of years and was on the hunt earlier this year. I almost picked one up at a local gun shop, and then my wife and I happened to be out somewhere and saw this one in stock and actually picked up the M9A4 version. Okay, so here's the box that it comes in, very similar to the M9A3. And when you open it up, you have, of course, the pistol, you have 3 magazines, your paperwork, and you'll notice on the top here, and I'll go ahead and clear this pistol for you guys just so you can see that it is in fact clear. This is the optic mounting plate right here. So what Beretta did though is that whenever you pick up the M9A4, they had a lot of issues with the optics plate, so they weren't able to ship them with the pistol. And there's also different optics mounting plates depending on what type of optic, whether you're going to use a Trijicon RMR or a Burris or a Vortex or what have you. So they give you a voucher and you go on their website and they will send you a free optics mounting plate of your choice. Now, I've picked up additional ones since then, so my plan is to run this with an optic. And it mounts right there on the slide, like so. It has 2 screws that mount on there, and it's kind of like dovetailed in to the slide. So it's actually really solid from what I can tell so far. And when you order the optics plate, the one complaint that I do have, so I'll show you this other optics plate. So this one is for the Trijicon. When you get the optics plate, it's the optics plate and the screws to mount it to the slide. That is it. There are no mounting screws to mount the actual optic to the plate itself. So they assume, that is Beretta, that the optic that you receive will have screws to mount it to the plate. But they did something a little weird with these screws. So I recently got a Primary Arms RS10 optic to mount on here, and the screws are not the right thread. They're actually narrower. So this is a totally different thread than what comes with your optic. So I contacted Beretta and they didn't even sell the screws here, so I had to source these online somewhere else. So that's a little bit of a letdown by Beretta. They should offer the screws for this plate to mount your optic, maybe a handful of different lengths, especially since they're not using a screw size that is standard to, seems like, the optics out there. So also in the box does come with the lock assembly, and then you also have a different set of grips. So you can see here, these are reminiscent of the original Beretta M9s or 92 series that have kind of the bump on the back strap here. But I've been just rocking them just like this. They actually fit really good in the hand, so I've not really had the need to use those fatter grips. But if you have bigger hands and you need more palm swell, those grip additions seem like they will work good. The magazines, in case I hadn't mentioned yet, these are 18 round magazines, and like I said, it does come with 3. Some of the earlier packaged guns did not have, they weren't all the Coyote colored base plate or FDE. I think it's more Coyote. And they would give you a voucher to order a couple additional free magazines due to supply chain issues. But mine came with, all of them were the correct color. All right, so just in case you guys are wondering, let's go ahead and take a look at the trigger on this thing. So this is a double action, single action trigger. So that means that when if the hammer is dropped and you do your first trigger pull is going to be double action, and then every round after that is going to be a single action. And the reset is actually relatively short on this thing. And then this is not a safety, this is actually the G model with the decocker. So just push that guy down, it decocks the pistol and puts you back into double action only. So I've shot this a good bit already, and I'll be honest with you, it had been a while since I shot a double action, single action pistol. I get a little spoiled by 1911s and striker fired pistols, so it took me a little while, but I got the hold of it. The sights on this thing are 3-dot tritium sights, and they're decent. They're 3 dots. My eyes don't work so well with 3-dot sights anymore. I prefer kind of a blacked out rear with a very bright and large front sight, but you know, they're adequate for combat sights. Okay, the decocker is ambidextrous as well, and then you do have a pretty pronounced magazine release there. All right, so let's put my trigger pull gauge on here and see if I can get some measurements. Might be a little difficult to get the... So that is way off my scale. So it's probably at least a 10, 11 pound double action trigger pull. So let's see what the single. All right, it's probably right about 6 pounds on the single action. All right, so one of the things that I plan on doing with this pistol is upgrading the trigger assembly, make it a little smoother, a little lighter, and I'm gonna do that by the way of a company called Langdon Tactical. So they do sell Beretta pistols over at Brownells as well. I have not seen the M9A4 yet, but they do sell the 92X model. I saw that over there recently, as well as a couple of their other models. So definitely my preferred place to get my firearms is Brownells. This one, you know, unfortunately I had to snag it locally, but so tell me what you think about the Beretta M9 series, any experience you guys have had, and especially the newer M9A4. Like I said, I've wanted one of these for a long time, and you know, was pretty happy to be able to pick one up recently. So, and this is one of those going to stay in my collection a very long time. Okay, so I appreciate y'all watching today's video on my new Beretta M9A4. Really lucky to have one of these fine pistols right here. I've wanted something like this in the M9 series and for quite a few years. So big thanks to my wife for picking this up for me for our recent 20th anniversary. Any questions or comments, please put them down below. Definitely look forward to more content with this particular pistol right here. It's been a joy to shoot so far. Any questions or comments, please put them down below. And I appreciate everybody watching and subscribing, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Y'all take it easy.